The story I'm about to read is one of the many stories produced by British socialists during the late 19th and early 20th century. They were originally published in the newspapers, magazines, and journals of socialist groups and parties. It is not always clear what the authors tried to achieve by writing the stories, but they do give us a valuable insight in socialist political thought in Britain during a time when the British Empire was at its peak and the British working class was in the midst of their struggle to gain formal political power, with universal suffrage only being reached in 1928. Please enjoy. The New Shilling by Baxter, 1895. I do not know how long I may have lain in the womb of the earth, nor am I acquainted with any particulars regarding the men who dug me out further than that they were workers of some kind or another. Neither have I any knowledge as to what part of the world I come from as a piece of silver, nor about what class of workmen carried me to England. But well do I remember the day when the people of this country, the British nation, gave me my start in life. When, a small shapeless mass, I was taken hold of by one of the citizens, and then by another, and by several others after them. This was in what is called the Citizens' Mint. I was squeezed until I almost cried, carried on endless belts, dropped, lifted, and put into one machine after another, and finally placed before a very nice citizen, who took me up and looked into my face. "What have you been doing to me?" I asked. The citizen smiled, and answering said unto me, "We've been putting you into a form by which you shall be recognized as a coin belonging to the citizens of Great Britain and Ireland. This is their mint, you know. Turn yourself over and you shall see that we have given you an impression." "So you have," I cried. "You have made me beautiful. Am I the Queen?" "Oh no," he answered. "You are only a shilling. You are only the least little bit of the Queen. The Queen, you know, is the citizen's figurehead. The citizens have made her their figurehead. This is the citizen's symbol of motherhood, to remind us that we are all brothers and sisters, living as one big family in one big house called the United Kingdom. And you, my dear Shilling, you have been impressed with her likeness, in order that you shall perform the duty of reminding us of our brotherhood and sisterhood. That is the purpose for which you were made. Every time you are looked at by a citizen, a quiver of brotherly or sisterly love shall be felt in the bosom of that citizen." I was about to thank this pleasant citizen for informing me that I was one of the citizen's emblems of love, when suddenly I heard a great jingling noise, and at the same instant found myself being thrown head foremost into a linen bag along with a great many other shillings. As I lay, almost smothered, near the bottom of the bag, I thought that the pleasant citizen must either have been mistaken or else some great calamity had occurred. With an endeavour to attract attention, I called out, as did all the other shillings in the bag, "We are little bits of the Queen, symbols of motherhood and love." While shouting and trying to get into a more comfortable position, we were carried away to a place called a bank. Here we were released by a very nice citizen known as Teller. He untied the bag, and with less ceremony, I must confess, than might have been expected from such a nice man, tumbled us, head over heels, into a drawer beside some other shillings, which from a sanitary point of view were in a very shocking condition. But I shall let that pass. In this drawer I lay praying for the time that I was to be sent on my mission of love. Suddenly a hand seized me, along with some other shillings, and in less time than it takes to tell, I was dropped into a trousers pocket of a citizen who happened to tell the teller it was a fine day. Off this citizen went, along one street, up another, and into another, stopping at a shop which he entered. He stood at the counter for some time, and every now and again put a hand into the pocket where I lay, and turned me over in a manner which made me feel that he was about to take me out, as to remind himself, by looking at my face, that he was a member of the big citizen household. At last he did take me out, but instead of using me as a reminder, he tossed me into the air, caught me while falling, and then placed me very gently on the counter. "If you please," I cried, "will you tell me why I am used in this irreverent manner?" Both the citizen who brought me to this shop and the lady behind the counter laughed very heartily at my question. "Why?" answered the lady. A very nice lady she was. "The gentleman wants a book." "Well," I asked, "can you not just give him the book?" She smiled beautifully, looked carefully and long into my face, and then with a loud laugh raked me into a drawer. I had been warm, having lain so long in the gentleman's pocket. Now I was beginning to feel cold and feverish, as if some of the influenza germs had alighted upon me. Indeed, I am almost certain that a few millions of little pests were playing hide-and-seek all over me, for I felt a creeping sensation. In this state, I fell sound asleep in the drawer and dreamt that 2 citizens, a lady and a gentleman, were fondly looking at me and discussing the propriety of converting me into a button or a brooch. It was a delightful dream, for as a button or a brooch, I knew that the object of my existence would be realized. But while the lady and gentleman were still considering the matter, another citizen joined in the conversation, and from his remarks I learned that I and all the other Shillings, far from being emblems of brotherhood and sisterhood, were looked upon and actually used as mere counters in a cruel game of chance, which necessitated the sacrifice of all true happiness among the citizens. I awoke with a start just at this moment, and found myself in the hand of the lovely lady behind the counter. "Do not laugh, for I am in earnest. Why, my dear lady, you have no need to use me for such a vile purpose as that of counter. When your little brother at home asks for a biscuit, you do not demand a counter from him. It is therefore very wrong of you to take a counter from a citizen when he asks you to supply him with a book. For is not this shop but a small room situated here for the big household of which you are a member? Being a token of love, it is my duty to speak plain. What difference will it make to your big family of citizens whether the book a citizen requires should lie in the shop or be taken to his place of abode? The book will be no less a book, no matter where it lies in our big house. Nor will I be any less a shilling if you cease to use me other than as a button. And the citizens, of whom you are one, shall be no poorer. No, my dear lady, they shall be all the richer by your giving a book to any brother or sister who may be richer by the amount of pleasure and knowledge supplied by the book. And they shall be richer in their lives if I be used as a button. Sweet lady, I have just learned that thousands of your dear brothers and sisters have no counters, and merely because of this, they cannot obtain the books that are lying idle and useless in this little shop. That thousands upon thousands, merely because they have no shillings, cannot get the use of the houses built by their brothers and themselves, nor the furniture and furnishings lying idle in other shops, and which were also made by themselves. That thousands of your brothers and sisters forming your big household, merely because they have no counters, are without necessaries of life, that the mere want of counters prevent them from building proper houses for themselves, making proper furniture for themselves, and scratching the earth to obtain proper food for themselves. My lovely lady, I continued, taking advantage of her sweet disposition to listen, Adam and Eve did not use counters, nor did Robinson Crusoe on his desert island. The absence of counters did not prevent the fruits and flowers from growing in the lovely Garden of Eden, nor the goats from giving milk on Crusoe's island. Indeed, sweet lady, if bees were to adopt counters, the work bees would soon become half-starved, sickly insects, for the drones who do no work would soon get hold of the shillings and live upon the honey produced by the slavish workers. You may not have thought of it, but it is a fact that the healthiest monkeys enjoy all the necessaries and pleasures of life without the aid of counters. But that they enjoy life in their glorious forests and gardens is a truth which you possibly cannot understand, for you have only seen them living artificially in cages. I think you are no more capable of understanding the true reason of its imprisonment, for you yourself, in the life you live in this shop, are even further away from your natural element than are the caged monkeys. You are a caged prisoner, trained from your infancy like a showman's dog to be obedient to others, and that irrespective of your longings to get away to the fields, the woods, the glens, the seashore, there to meet your lover or engage in the work you were made to perform, work which no other could imitate, any more than one perfume or one flower is like another, irrespective of your longings to live with nature, where there are no counters. Sweet maiden, do not let superstition cause you to shudder when I tell you that you are living in the only hell. It is a cruel word, hell, to be used in the presence of a caged citizen like you, for you have been trained to listen to it with horror, just as an ass or a dog with tremble of the lash when they hear their masters utter words that are always accompanied by a stroke of the whip. Get accustomed to the word, and you shall fear it no longer. Hell means nothing but the state in which you live, and the use of shillings for counters has made it and maintains it. Heaven? What is heaven? Where is heaven? It is hell without counters. It is here, in this united kingdom, which shall become a glorious garden filled with the music of love, whenever all the shillings like myself are turned into buttons and brooches, and used for no other purpose than that of reminding angels like yourself who and what you are. When I had finished speaking, she smiled upon me, and gently dropped me into one of the most delightful, sweet-smelling purses I have ever sampled.